We're going to make America great again. We have to focus on our country. Tremendous deficits with China, tremendous deficits with the European Union, tremendous deficits with Mexico and Canada. And why? What's the purpose of that? Why would we have deficits? I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning. And I don't expect anything very dramatic.
That's President Trump last night defending his tariffs while saying similar action on the European Union will definitely happen. Trump taking a softer tone with the United Kingdom, suggesting the tariffs may happen, but thinks that they can make a deal with the UK. The European Union vowing to respond firmly to any potential tariff as Canada announces a 25% retaliation tariff on $155 billion of U.S. exports. Mexico is also vowing retaliation this morning, but no specifics have been given yet. We are waiting for those phone calls to take place with President Trump and the leaders of Canada and Mexico to get more clarity there. Joining me now is New York Congressman Nick Langworthy. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What's your reaction to all of this?
Well, we have $1 trillion trade deficit, and this is not an ideal situation, but we have the greatest economy in the world, and we've been taken advantage of for far too long. And President Trump is a shrewd negotiator, and we have to use tariffs and put tariffs at the front of the table in order to change the behavior of these countries. And when you look specifically towards the issue of immigration and the fentanyl that is poured into this country, we need to use the economic might of the United States of America to change the behavior of Canada, Mexico, and China in particular in order to get this crisis under control. And they are the main perpetrators of this coming into our country, and we need to bring it to a stop.
You know, Mexico is going to have a hard time with this because I think Mexico is dealing with its own problem of these drug cartels. The dangerous cartels, I've been told, run Mexico. And so she's going to have a hard time, the president of Mexico, making a dent into what the dangerous cartels are going to do. But if anybody's going to fight the cartels, it should be Mexico, I guess.
Well, they need to take control of their own country. And unfortunately, we are now in a war with the cartels. President Trump very boldly declared them a terrorist organization, which should have happened a long time ago. It was really there in plain sight. You can see the footage on X where the cartels actually fired on U.S. troops. I mean, this is a war, and the cartel is a multi-billion-dollar agency. They've got assets in Canada. They've got assets that have been smuggling, with human trafficking, drug trafficking, and the smuggling of goods across our country in the borders at the south and the north for far too long. We have to get real about this. Mexico's got to get its own house in order. And unfortunately, we have to turn to the economic table to get their attention.
Yeah, let me get your take on the economic conversation you're having, because as far as I can see, there is still no date set for a joint congressional budget resolution. You need to have the budget resolution in order to do your reconciliation fast track. So the White House says the president wants the tax cuts included in the reconciliation package, telling Congress no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits, no tax on overtime pay. He wants all that in the bill. Congressman, where are you in all of this?
Well, the most important thing that we have to accomplish this year is extending the tax cuts of 2017, and that was the centerpiece of the Trump agenda in the first term. If we fail in this mission, it's a $4 trillion tax increase on the American people. And for everyone wringing their hands about tariffs this morning, there would be no greater wet blanket on the U.S. economy than a $4 trillion tax increase this year. We have to get a plan that will pass the House and the Senate, and that is a painstaking process. If it was easy, it'd be done already. We come to this discussion with the majority we have, not the majority we want. I mean, it would be great if we had a wider majority, but we have a very narrow, I think today it's a two-seat majority. It will go down to one. That is something that takes a lot of negotiation in this conference. There needs to be more practicality within our entire conference because ultimately it has to pass. And we have diversity of opinion across the conference, and there's some people that look for a utopian solution. I look for a practical solution that will work and get President Trump's agenda across the finish line. President Trump's got a very large role here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, nobody should be surprised by his tariff announcement. He's been telling us that this was coming for a long time. I spoke with him right before the election in October, and here's what he said. Watch. You said in your Detroit speech that you want to renegotiate your USMCA deal with Canada and Mexico. Yeah. But doesn't that undermine the deal that you put together?
No, because I put together a deal that gives me the right to renegotiate, because these are very smart people.
Why do you want to renegotiate it?
Because I want to make it a much better deal. I want to take advantage now of the car industry, which lets me do that. So I put a clause in. The hardest clause I had with them was, I want to be able to see how it's working, and I want to renegotiate. I didn't mind not making a deal, by the way. The problem we had is NAFTA. We had to get rid of it. It had to get out. It was the worst deal.
So what about USMCA? What do you want to renegotiate?
And I will renegotiate to the benefit of our country. We've been screwed by Mexico and by China and by Canada and by the European Union.
So do you think this is going to be enough to move the needle here for them to actually take a stance and move to stop the fentanyl from flowing through Mexico and coming from China?
Well, President Trump certainly has everyone's attention this morning, and they know he means business. I mean, this is the problem with what we've lived through for the last 4 years, is the rest of the world has seen the United States as a doormat. You can't do that with President Trump. He's going to lead with the full might of the United States of America and use all assets and tactics that are available to us. I mean, Canada's a great ally, but we have a huge trade deficit. And you know, we're getting the short end of the stick in this relationship right now. But at the behavior that we're seeing at the northern border, you know, they have very, very lax immigration laws. I spent last week with, you know, the Buffalo ICE office and talked a lot about our northern border. We have seen way too many instances of fentanyl coming across this northern border. Some of the greatest national security threats that have come illegally across the northern border come from Canada. It's because of their lax immigration laws. They need to come to the table. They need to change their policy. And this has to all intertwine with our economic relationship. It's the only way they'll understand.
By the way, Congressman, do you want President Trump to take on congestion pricing? It was really interesting to me to hear your governor, Kathy Hochul, attack President Trump on the tariffs and say it's going to cost New Yorkers all this money after she just jammed congestion pricing down everybody's throats recently.
She doesn't give a damn about the taxpayers in New York, and she's all politics all the time. Congestion pricing has got to go. I mean, this is an idiotic policy that will not do anything but take money out of the pockets of people every single day because they have a $252 billion state budget. It's out of control. I mean, and their politics knows no bounds. I mean, they are trying to stop President Trump's agenda in the New York State legislature. You know, rumor has it in Action Show today, they're going to pass a law to change how we fill our special elections to try to delay filling a Lee Stefanik seat in the Congress. It's unconscionable in its abuse of power.
Well, that's what Liz wanted to ask you, right, Liz?
Exactly. I don't know if Republicans can do anything, whether you can do anything to change that, but we do have, as you point out, a 1 or 2 seat advantage in the House, and part of it's because we're not going to get this special election done. What can you do?
Well, we're drawing attention to it because their corruption, it lives in the shadows in Albany. I was the state chairman of the Republican Party. I know a little bit about this. And what you have going on right now is the New York State legislature trying to change a law that they changed 3 years ago to make it easier to have special elections when Andrew Cuomo wouldn't call them. Now you have them trying to allow the governor to delay special elections.
Wow.
It's unconscionable. They want to leave the seat open so that we have one less vote as we go into this reconciliation process. It's a massive power grab in the state capitol today.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. We'll be watching that one, Congressman. We'll put a spotlight on it. Thank you, sir. Nick Langworthy this morning.
Thank you so much,
New York. We'll be right back.